Hi guys! How are you today? Welcome back to my channel, Adventures in America. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jocelyn.
For today's video, we are going to discuss how to apply for a 9A visa in the US for Philippine travelers. And these are only for eligible travelers in the Philippines. 9A visa is for pleasure and business. Please take note that the Philippines is not yet open for international tourism. Dual citizens do not need a 9A visa. Also, former Filipinos do not need a 9A visa as well. Now, who needs a 9A visa? There are only certain foreign nationals eligible to travel in the Philippines. Native foreign spouse not traveling with Filipino spouse, but the spouse must be in Philippines. Also, native foreign parent visiting a Filipino child in the Philippines. And also, foreign minor children or foreign child with special needs regardless of age traveling with foreign parent. Now, there's another set of passengers who are temporary visitors to the Philippines. There was a press release from the Bureau of Immigration issued on October 5th, and it provided the guidelines for temporary visitors. However, there are strict requirements, and Philippine consulates abroad won't issue visas for temporary visitors. You must have a 9A visa and an entry exemption document. In addition, the reasons must be for business, for humanitarian, and for meritorious reasons. Please remember that the Philippine embassies and consulates abroad, including those in the US, are under the jurisdiction of the Department of Foreign Affairs and not by the Bureau of Immigration. Now, here's the map of the US showing the location of Philippine embassies and consulates. Please remember that you must apply within the jurisdiction of a Philippine consulate abroad. Now, let's move on to the specific requirements of getting a 9A temporary visitor's visa. Please consult the Philippine consulate covering your residence regarding specific requirements. Now, these are the general requirements for all applicants. Now, the first requirement is that you must have a valid passport that is good for at least 6 months from return date and one photocopy of the actual page. And also, you must accomplish the non-immigrant visa application form. It must be notarized as well. So I'm showing a PDF copy of this one-page visa application. Also, you must provide the travel itinerary, a round-trip or onward flight ticket out of the Philippines. In addition, you must provide one colored photo 2x2 taken within the 6 months before the date of application. No sleeveless attire for women or men. Blurred or low-quality photos are also not acceptable. Another requirement is that you must provide proof of financial capacity. This could be either bank statements and employment certificate, or if you own a business or self-employed, you must provide tax returns as well. In addition, you must also provide a letter from employer or sponsor of the trip if you are staying in the Philippines for a certain length of time. Also, for foreign spouse of a Filipino national, these are the specific requirements. Per the Bureau of Immigration regulation, the marriage must be defined by the Philippine law. For foreign spouse as well, there is also a requirement that you must provide original and photocopy of proof of marriage. In addition, a letter request by the Filipino spouse addressed to the consulate with a valid ID. And you can find this in the Philippine consulate in Los Angeles. And I'm not sure with the other Philippine consulates abroad. And proof that the Filipino spouse is in the Philippines. For minor visa applicants, here are the requirements. Visa applicants below 18 traveling on their own must provide affidavit of support and guarantee from either of the parent. For foreign parent of a Filipino national, original and photocopy of both the child's passport and foreign parent's passport. Also, the passport must have a validity of at least 6 months. For foreign parent of a Filipino national, also, the proof of parents' financial capacity must be provided, such as bank statements or ownership of real estate properties. For foreign parent of a Filipino national, the Filipino child must be in the Philippines and documentary proof must be provided. Also, you must provide self-addressed return envelope. Please send the appropriate amount for the stamp for easier processing. Now, here is the payment information. The visa fee is non-refundable and must be payable in cash or money order. Personal checks and credit cards are not accepted. Now, the visa fee depends on whether the Philippines has an agreement with the country of the foreign national. Now, let's talk about the waiver of exclusion ground for certain minors. As a rule, minors under 15 and unaccompanied are generally excluded from entering the Philippine ports of entry. However, there are exceptions. To avoid this, the minor's parent or parents must provide or submit an affidavit of request and consent guarantee for the issuance of waiver of exclusion. Now, let's talk about the other important details regarding this policy. Now, there are certain requirements regarding the private documents for authentication or acknowledgement purposes. Also, please take note of the important documents that needed to be submitted for this waiver. Now, here's the Embassy of the Philippines in Washington, D.C. Here's the address and the contact information. The states covered are also provided, so please remember that if you live in any one of these states, you must submit your application to the Embassy of the Philippines in Washington, D.C. Now, here's the Philippine Consulate in Chicago, Illinois. Here is the address and the contact information as well, and the states being served by this particular consulate. Now, here's the Philippine Consulate in Honolulu, Hawaii. Here's the address and the contact information and the website and the jurisdiction of this consulate. Now let's move on to the Philippine Consulate in Houston, Texas. Here is the address and the contact information and the states being served. Please take note where you live because you can only file to that particular consulate covering your residence. Here's the Philippine Consulate in New York. Here's the address and the contact information and the states being served by consulate in New York. Now, let's move on to the Philippine Consulate in San Francisco, California. Here's the address and the contact information and the states being served by this San Francisco Consulate. Now, let's move on to the Philippine Consulate in Los Angeles, California, which is the busiest among all the Philippine consulates in the U.S. Here is the address and also the jurisdiction being served by this particular consulate. Now, let's move on to the Philippine Consulate in Guam. Here is the address and the contact information and also the places or territorial jurisdiction being served by this consulate.
Thank you guys for supporting my channel, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Now, if you recently traveled in the Philippines, please share your travel experience and please post in the comment section below regarding your entry in the Philippines. Now, if you have any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.